Good morning. This is Dr. Timothy Scott Beck here at LifePoint Medical, and it's my weekly video address. And I want to say, first of all, that I'm extremely blessed to be able to work in this community and help you out. And I thank the Lord for it. And I appreciate all of you listening and coming up here and letting me be part of your health care. It is a gift from the Lord, I promise you, and I take it seriously. And hopefully, we've been able to help you with what's going on. So today, when I got your ear, I want to talk about one of the medical issues. Last week we talked about stroke and writing down a time and getting to the ER and quick. The next thing I want to talk about is chest pain. We see lots of chest pain here, and the thing about chest pain is figuring out whether or not your heart is causing you chest pain or is another reason. And the heart is the one that we're most concerned about, in the sense that we want to make sure you're not having a heart attack. But also, there's other things like a pulmonary embolism or a clot being sent to your heart that could cause chest pain. And then there's a whole bunch of other things that could cause chest pain, which are not as urgent. Some of them are just as important, but they're not. So what I want to talk about is if you're having persistent chest pain. And every once in a while, I'll get a patient who comes in who's like, I've had chest pain for the last 12 hours, or I've had chest pain for a day, or something like that. If you're having chest pain, you need to get help. Okay, and I want to just talk to you about this a little bit because you need to get evaluated. You've got to make sure that you're okay if you're having persistent chest pain. And a lot of times people come to my office, like I say, after and they've had it for 24 hours. The problem I have is I don't have the technology on hand here in the office to clear you for chest pain. And so most of the time we recommend that you go to the emergency room. And I want to say that that's where I want you to go if you're having persistent chest pain. I want you to go to the emergency room because the emergency room is specifically set up for a couple of things. Number one, has the technology and the blood work and things like that you need to confirm whether or not it's cardiac or not, or rule it out. Okay, so they got the technology right there. I don't have that technology. So they got EKGs, they got monitors, they got lab work. They can figure out what's going on. They got a CT scanner so they can scan it to make sure it's not a clot in your lungs and things like that. And they can do all of that pretty rapidly. And then they can make a determination. And the other thing they can do is they can get you to where you need to be quicker than I can. I.e., if you're having a cardiac issue, they may have a helicopter or an ambulance with all the lights on to get you to Gainesville. And Gainesville is the most common place that people go from here who have cardiac issues because that's where they have a cardiac center at. Okay, but persistent chest pain, that's usually not an office visit. If you call us and you've got persistent chest pain, we're going to recommend you go to the ER. And the reason we want to go to you to get ER is because we don't have the technology here to rule out you having a cardiac problem. And of course, if you're having cardiac chest pain and you're having sweating or nausea or anything else like that, that just is a stronger indication that you need to go to the emergency room and get checked out. So I hope none of you have chest pain. I hope none of you have chest pain that's from cardiac, but if you do, I want you to go to the right place, and that's the emergency room so you can be promptly evaluated and hopefully transferred to an area where you can be taken care of definitively. And honestly, and just as a FYI, you got to go to Gainesville because Gainesville's the place where they have the technology, i.e., they have a cath lab and they have cardiac surgeons there that can help you manage your issues if it's your heart. Okay. All right. Next thing I want to talk about COVID. COVID is still in the area. The state stuff is not showing a lot of COVID activity. Unfortunately, I've seen more of it than I would like. It's still around. I don't see a lot of precautions being taken, and honestly, I'm not sure they would do anything anyway. Okay, but just be mindful that it's still around, and I've prayed a bunch that it goes away. So let's just keep our eye on it and see. The next thing I just want to remind everybody about bringing your meds. I know I say this a lot, I want you to bring your medications to the appointment so I can make sure I get it right. I do not want to get it wrong. And there's nothing that we have. The computers don't track it good. People don't track it good. We don't track it good. The EMR, the electronic medical record we use, does not track your meds correctly. It's too complicated for it. So bringing your meds in so we can regroup and reconcile them every time you come is what we do. Okay? And listen, it's expensive for me and it's time consuming, but I still think it's important. So help us out when it comes to that. We are continuously saving lives or intervening in a meaningful way through our wellness program, through everybody getting their annual wellness visits. So if you haven't had your annual wellness visit and you think you need one, you call us up here and we'll get you set up for that. We go over a bunch of things, and inevitably, if I say it, I'll tell my staff, hey, if we do these right, you're going to save lives. And that day, somebody will come in, I'll do a test on them from that, and it'll change them. And it just seems like it's always sitting there. So if you think you need if you haven't had an annual visit, get one. If you're teetering on whether you need it or not, the older you are, the more I think it's relevant. And just remember, every once in a while, we do something that totally changes somebody's life, and that's a win for us, and it's a win for you. And the way we do that is through the annual wellness visits. All right, the last thing I want to talk about, we've got this program set up and I talked about it last time, the chronic care management, and I've got an RN who's hired just to manage those patients for me. So it's a good service. It's supported and pushed by Medicare as a way to lower people's risk of death and lower their cost when it comes to medical care. So we're on board with it. We're using it in the spirit of what it was intended for. It's called chronic care management. And if you want to be in it, or you think you're eligible for it or whatever, give us a call or talk to us when you come in here and we'll get you set up for it. This is Dr. Timothy Scott Beck. My number is 706-782-0016. Okay, our website is drtsbeck.com. There's several ways you can get a hold of us, and we want to hear from you if you need our help. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you when you're in the office.